Welcome back. It's been a long time since I've made real content for 9th Gym, but here we are, competitive. The new game comes out in a week. Like 1 week, Pokemon Champions is here. So I figured I would get my feet wet with this pre-Champions VGC format. Not everything set in stone, right? We don't know the entire pool for what Pokemon we have. So this is a very basic first common cores video. We've got Weathers, we've got Trick Room, we've got a couple little cores down at the bottom. I think this format looks really fun. I've been playing it some, I've been watching it some, I've been looking at teams and what these Pokemon can do, and it looks to be a very powerful non-legendary format. So we're looking at common cores. Rain. Rain is typically the best weather, and we have a lot of really great setters here, some returning and even a new one in the Mega Drampa. The Mega Drampa gets Drizzle. So we have Pelipper and Politoed and the new Mega Drampa. I think all these Pokemon are very great as Drizzle setters. Pelipper, of course, if you're looking for that Tailwind, but then we have Politoed, which is just a bulkier Pokemon in general that still has Drizzle. It has access to Perish Song, which is interesting if you want to use like a Mega Gengar Rain team. This is a great start. It's Politoed, Mega Gengar. Maybe something like an Incineroar to stall out the game. That way your Gengar can stay alive through its entire Shadow Tag Perish Song trap. Politoed gets Encore, Chilling Water, just a lot of really interesting moves. I think Politoed, Gengar is something I definitely want to mess around with. Also, Mega Drampa I think is a really interesting Pokemon, something I've never used. I mean, nobody's ever used it because it's a new Mega Pokemon, but still getting access to Cloud9 as its regular ability, it just makes these Weather Wars definitely something that you can fight a little bit easier. Importantly, this Pokemon is just an offensive threat. I mean, 135 on its regular form. I don't know the Mega stats of this Pokemon, but it's an offensive setter. Offensive setters are great. I mean, we've seen it with like Torkoal, right? And even Mega Charizard Y. These offensive setters really set apart from the regular format. As far as payoffs for Rain, you of course have Swift Swim users, and Basculegion seems to be ahead of every other Pokemon. Great stab moves, you have access to Aqua Jet. Another really powerful piece of the Rain team is Archaludon. With this move, Electro Shot being ridiculous in the Rain. Raises special attack by 1 and hits turn 2, but in Rain there's no charge turn. So you're just raising special attack and hitting for 130 base power. This is an absurd attack and it's great on this team. Also, it gets access to Snarl, so if you're here for a little while, you have Assault Vest Snarl, very bulky Pokemon. Its base defense is really high. You could use Body Press instead of this because of that. Also, you have Stamina, which every time it gets hit, it raises its defense by 1. This honestly is just all around a very powerful Pokemon. It's something I'm really interested in using. The next archetype we're going to be talking about is Sun Charizard. We've got Solar Power as the main ability if you're using a different Sun setter as well, but Charizard, Mega Charizard Y actually has Drought. It can be your primary setter, can also be an offensive setter, much like the Drampa I was just talking about. Heat Wave, Weather Ball, I think it gets Air Slash, right? Yeah, Air Slash is probably your flying move. If Charizard Y is going to be your main setter, maybe skip out on the Solar Power and go Blaze just in a pinch. I don't think I'd probably double up on the setters. I think if you're going to go Charizard, you're probably just using Charizard Y. But a good backup setter, of course, is Whimsicott. Whimsicott having Prankster Sunny Day is an incredible version of that. You can go Covert Cloak to keep away from Fake Out. You have access to Tailwind if you want to go speed mode. Whimsicott is a great way to use Solar Powered Charizard in a pinch as well. But if we're just looking at setters, we're also looking at Torkoal with Heavy Hands. This is a really powerful Pokemon. It's an incredible setter. It's very slow, which lets you do for Sunroom stuff as well. Such a low base speed on Torkoal. You have Drought Eruption. We don't have Lilligant yet. Torkoal Lilligant is one of my favorite cores in VGC as well. We don't have that yet. We don't know. I might come out. I don't know. But as for now, as far as payoffs go, we have Venusaur as the main one. Chlorophyll doubling your speed in Sunny Day, which is great. It's a low base speed, but we're still looking pretty good. You got Wide Lens on Sleep Powder, which is gross. It still has a bit of variance. That 1.1 times accuracy on Wide Lens is not enough to bring Sleep Powder to 100. It's 82.5. But you have Leaf Storm all the way up to 99% accuracy, which is pretty great. So as far as just offensive Pokemon goes, Leaf Storm, Sludge Bomb, doubled speed, this guy's looking great. You could use Focus Sash if you're not too worried about the Sleep Powder Skamaz. Oh yeah, I guess I glanced right over Ninetales. This is, in my opinion, the weakest setter. I like both of these other options we have a lot more. It does have access to Will-O-Wisp, which is a great defensive tool, you know, having that attack power, but like, I don't really care that much about Ninetales, to be honest. The next archetype we have here is one of my favorites. It's Sand. It's very, very powerful. It's very hyper aggressive. I don't know if it's the best weather as far as what we've seen. I am thinking that probably Rain is the strongest. This is what we're talking about right now is Sand, and it's Tyranitar Excadrill with a couple of friends that maybe you can consider. We've got Tyranitar as the main piece here. It sets the Sand with Sandstream, and you can actually go Mega if you want to. Tyranitar-ite is also an option. I don't know how much I believe it. It does have a 4x weakness against fighting, so be very careful for that. You do have Assault Vest here. That doesn't always help with the physical fighting moves either. I don't know. I don't know what's right for Tyranitar. I've gone Weakness Policy in the past, although Weakness Policy was most potent during the Dynamax period. I don't know if I would still be using Weakness Policy, to be honest. Mega Tyranitar. I think I'll try some Sand stuff with Mega Tyranitar. I haven't decided how good it is yet. I haven't tried it. Here we have Excadrill, of course, Sand Rush. It's Tyranitar's best friend. This was a very potent VGC strategy in the past, and I hope it is going to be good here. Still, I'm not seeing it much on the ladder, but of course, it's very early days. We can still see things change. I am really sad that the Mega has access to Mold Breaker alone. It loses Sand Rush. So if you're looking to use a Mega of these Pokemon, it's Tyranitar or something else on the team. It could be Garchomp. It has Sand Veil. I don't know if the Mega Garchomp does. I genuinely don't know. Hippowdon is a fine sand setter, but as far as Tyranitar goes, I think it's just a better Pokemon. This is a ground mono-ground type, so you don't have a 4x weakness, which is something to keep in mind, but it just lacks that offensive pressure that this Tyranitar has. Tyranitar he's a G, man. What do you want from me? It also has access to Knockoff, which is like just an incredible tool here. If you're looking for Protect, maybe even Life Orb could be a good option. There's a lot of options. And I have Garchomp here because of Sand Veil, but I think this is too gimmicky for me to really use and rely on, but it's still a funny option, so I just wanted to mention it. The next archetype is an oldie but goodie. It's Trick Room. This is a very powerful game warping ability. For the unaware, Trick Room is going to last 5 turns, and turn order is entirely reversed. So slow Pokemon are now fast, and fast Pokemon are now slow. This is great, especially in a Tailwind meta, which we have access to Whimsicott, Priority Tailwind, we have Talonflame. There's a lot of great Tailwind users. Pelipper, there's Corviknight. Of course, here we're going to start off with these 2 setters. There are a lot of setters in this format, so this is not all of them that you can use, but Farigiraf is one of your best offensive options. It has offense with Hyper Voice and Throat Spray, but here is the most important thing about this Pokemon. Maybe not the most important thing because the Throat Spray, Hyper Voice stuff is really good. Armor Tail is incredibly powerful. This keeps all of your Pokemon, including itself, away from priority moves. Now, this is a big deal because main thing is Fake Out, right? Incineroar, Sneasler. You have very powerful Fake Out users in the format that are going to keep you off of Trick Room, but this Pokemon can't be Fake Outed. So you can just Trick Room. Just Trick Room. You also have, of course, an out from Prankster Taunt, which is another giant deal for this Pokemon. A more supportive Trick Room option, you have Sinistcha. Sinistcha does still have actually pretty strong special attack, and this move, Machagacha, is pretty strong. It's very potent. It has 80 base power, but it has healing property, also a 20% chance to burn. The big reason why this is considered more supportive role is because it has a Rage Powder. This is it forces the attack from an opponent to go towards itself with a mix-up of Rage Powder plus Protect. This is a really hard Pokemon to deal with. It also has access to the Hospitality, so it can heal its partner Pokemon. Meanwhile, Machagacha can heal itself. Now, as far as payoffs for the Trick Room, of course, there's a lot of Pokemon, right? I mentioned the other side of Trick Room, just using splashing Trick Room on other teams like Sun with Torkoal. You also have a lot of very powerful low-speed Pokemon in the format. Premier all-star ones are Ursaluna and Kingambit. Of course, there are other Pokemon that like Trick Room, but Ursaluna is a really huge one. I mean, this is just a behemoth of a Pokemon. It has access to Guts, Flame Orb, which gives you just a huge attack bonus. You have access to really powerful stab moves like Headlong Rush, Facade. Protect is very important on this Pokemon. This is a mandatory thing if you're using Flame Orb Guts, because Flame Orb is at the end of your turn. So you're gonna have to protect the first turn, activate Flame Orb, activate Guts, boom. massive attack. King Gambit is crazy. It has the ability Defiant. This is a really powerful anti-intimidate strat, and we have Incineroar. So there's going to be a lot of intimidate. Kowtow Cleave. It doesn't miss. That's just a really cool thing to have here. And Sucker Punch is the actual big thing here, because Sucker Punch is a broken move. The next archetype we're going to be looking at is actually Psychic Surge, and this is Mega Meowstic. This is one of the premier strategies I'm seeing online. This is really powerful. Like, this is something that if you haven't seen yet, get prepared to see it, because it is very, very strong. Mega Meowstic has Psychic Surge, which, as you've seen in the past, Surge abilities are very, very broken. Psychic Surge does a ton of stuff, but it mostly enhances the power of psychic attacks, but also ignores priority-based moves, which is huge. I mean, I was talking about Armor Tail being that. This now has that on an ability with more upside. This is a scary foundation for a team. Of course, you have Expanding Force on this Pokemon as well, so this is an offensive setter. This is really revving up to be like the equivalent of a Tapu Lele, which is crazy to hear. Also, its base form gets competitive, so if you can kind of schemaz your way into getting intimidated, there you go. There's a massive special attacking Expanding Force monster. This is a Pokemon that I've seen so far, and I've just been wildly impressed with it. Of course, its main squeeze right now is Sneasler, holding the Psychic Seed to crack that, get a special defense boost, and then double its speed with Unburden. This is ridiculous. Also, this thing has Fake Out, which is kind of a non-bow. You can also take off Fake Out if this is like a dedicated Psychic Surge team, which, honestly, fair if you don't use Fake Out. I still think it's like something to keep in mind. And also, there's not a lot of Surge stuff in general. I don't know if there's any, other than like terrain, like setting it with an attack. That's not really worth it usually. Like you're really only using Surges with the ability. But Sneasler has been a very impressive Pokemon so far, not even just on this. You can also use Close Combat and Mental. Is it Mental Herb? It's White Herb, I think. Yeah, you can use White Herb with Close Combat, and then you're able to Close Combat, lose some stats. White Herb cracks itself, and then you go back up to that stat. So Close Combat has no downside, and then you get Unburden boost. And then also here, I have Hatterene, because this lets you kind of use like a Trick Room side of this while still having Expanding Force. So you have an offensive setter here. And also with the Meowstic F, you set up the Surge so that the Hatterene can start spamming Expanding Force and it's broken. You also have Trick Room on this guy, so you don't need anything else. Maybe put like an Ursaluna on the team. Just a couple ideas. I don't know actually how good this is, because we've seen Side Spam be really potent in the past. Also, I think Armarouge is in this game. It is. There's an Armarouge in this game. So yeah, Expanding Force Armarouge is definitely a solid option for that kind of team as well. It is Fire Psychic. Hey, you're going to have a lot of Psychic on it. It's a Side Spam team. What do you want from me, man? Just keep that in mind that, you have a lot of Psychic on the team, so be careful. Now, I already talked about Archaludon a little bit, but I think this Pokemon is just really powerful, really potent, and doesn't need to be on a rain team, because Electroshot, yeah, works always in rain. Also great as a counter to rain teams, like if you just have this Pokemon on here with this attack. The big thing here is Stamina Maushold. Maushold has this move called Population Bomb. If you're using loaded dice, this is guaranteed to hit at least 4 times. But also you could use Focus Sash and then like not care as much about the gimmick, right? Maushold is just a good Pokemon. It has access to Follow Me. So using like that gimmick is really powerful. I don't think I even explained the gimmick yet. Stamina, when it gets hit, it raises its defense by 1. And Maushold's little stupid nothing attack can hit it 1,000,000 times. You just minimize this guy's physical attack, and then Archaludon just gets like a ton of boost in its physical defense. And then you have access to Body Press, which uses your physical defense stat in damage calculation. It means you have a super powered Body Press, which is pretty cool to me. I do have it on Assault Vest here currently. Another great option is the Power Herb. I ran into this and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Power Herb makes 2 turn moves only into 1. Does use it, so it is only a 1-time use. But then you can go Electroshot as a 1 turn, get the +1 in special attack, and then still use it as a real Pokemon. And that's why I have this as Dragon Pulse instead of Draco Meteor. It's because Maushold is set to like make this guy a tank, a super mega raid boss. And so I wanted to stick around. I don't really want to just be dropping my own stats So I went for Dragon Pulse instead. I think it makes sense. And then the last little duo archetype we have here is Dondozo Tatsugiri. Now, if you know about these Pokemon, then you probably hate them. Honestly, they're really strong. Dondozo sets up to be a raid boss. When Dondozo and Tatsugiri are both out, Dondozo eats the Tatsugiri and gets an all stats up, which is just crazy. And then you start using really powerful moves. It's a raid boss. It's a raid boss. You're 1v2ing, but Dondozo a lot of the time is capable of doing it. Well, I guess that's just about everything I've got here so far. This is just the start of the format. We don't even know every Pokemon that's guaranteed to be in the game yet. So this is just the start, but this is a couple common cores that I've been seeing a lot in pre-Champions VGC format. So thank you so much for watching. And if anything went completely under my radar, please comment it down below. I'd love to hear some random cool interactions with Pokemon that you're using, and maybe even just like pop some paste if you want to. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe because a lot more content is coming for Pokemon Champions. See ya.